These are the most interesting PS1 hidden gems of the month. Yeah, sure, you've heard of Hercules, Crash, and Final Fantasy before, but what if you could be the most interesting guy on the table and tell all your friends how cool is no one can stop Mr. Domino? You know, the PS5 Pro has just been announced, and now people can count on a solid 60 FPS with PC-like graphics, all at once for the modest sum of $700 or 800 euros. And no CD drive or plastic support included. No, we refuse. What a great time to look back and reveal some of the greatest retro games that people may have not talked about that much. Thanks to modern hardware, emulate, you do have the condition to give them a chance today. Be it with your Miyoo Mini Plus or your phone or your PC, you have no excuses, bud. So remember, my objective here is to try certain games that didn't really become a world fever and report my first impressions of it. So after each review, I'll tell you why I would play it instead of playing a modern game, or not, and in what specific case I would play it. Come on, it's gonna be fun. No One Can Stop Mr. Domino was released in 1998 for the PS1 by a company called Artink. This is an action puzzle game in which you can pick between Mr. Domino himself or Mrs. Domino, and then you can customize the number that's shown in their back. I'm not sure if that has an actual usage, but sure. Well, the objective here is to place down a specific amount of domino blocks you have in a way that you can activate some special buttons in the map. Mr. Domino cannot stop nor move back. You can only control the direction in which he moves, but he's always going forward. I know it does sound easy, and for some people it might actually be, but I found the controls to be a bit clunky and not so well responsive. Sometimes I had to press and hold for like a whole second for him to move left or right, and he didn't. So I ended up hitting an obstacle. Basically, Mr. Domino will run in circles until you press all the special buttons in the map or you run out of time. In this case, you'll be transformed into a regular domino block and get a game over screen. If you manage to do all the objectives in time, you'll be transported to a new map with a new scenario and new special buttons to press. Well, if I would spend the few free hours I have after work every day to play this game instead of Hogwarts Legacy, no, I would not. However, we live in a world where every major video game release takes years, millions of dollars to make, in a way that companies frequently choose not to risk in pretty much everything they can. That's why we'll keep getting remasters and sequels of The Last of Us until the end of humanity, but considering today's conflicts, apparently won't take that long. And it is exactly because of that context that I appreciate Mr. Domino's simple existence the way I do. Like, it's a goofy game with a goofy character that doesn't pretend to be any more than it is. I give it a 7 out of 10 underestimatedness level. I would play it after a stressful day so I could get even more stressed out because of my lack of skills to dodge the obstacles at 30 FPS. But I would totally get better afterwards because of how satisfying it is when you hear the sound of domino blocks hitting each other. Before going to our next champion, this channel is pretty new, so if you like the styles of the videos I make, because of the editing, the themes, the games, it would be really nice if you subscribed, because who knows, I'll be the next subscriber millionaire, so then you'll be able to brag like I was his subscriber number 1000 and something. Also, you get notified when I release my next video in 4 months apparently. Just kidding. Next! Panzer Bandit is a fast-paced beat-em-up game that was developed by Fill-In Cafe and published by Ben Presto in 1997. Before anything, one thing I learned to appreciate, for sure, is PS1's 2D games. This is because it's funny to think how we used to underestimate them because of the novelty of 3D. Still, looking back today, it's really easy to tell how cool 2D games look in older consoles. But the PS1 had more than enough power to run gorgeous 2D graphics, in a way that, of course, even the Super Nintendo couldn't. Its development came from the same lineage of beat-em-up games inspired by Mad Stalker, Full Metal Force, an earlier project from Fill-In Cafe. At the time, key programmers from Mad that Stalker had moved on to another major project. Masaki Yukio, one of Feeling Cafe's best game designers, even joined another company called Treasure to work on famous titles like Guardian Heroes, while Masatoshi Maizumi, the other lead, stayed with Feeling Cafe to create Panzer Bandit. Ben Presto, the game's publisher, was well known for handling games with anime-style aesthetics, and the art was designed by Yoshitsune Izuna, who had also worked on lots of other anime-like projects. Despite the success of Guardian Heroes internationally, Panzer Bandit was only released in Japan, where it gained a small but dedicated following. Though it didn't reach mainstream popularity, Panzer Bandit is often remembered as the PlayStation's version of Guardian Heroes, continuing the legacy of those fast-paced, action-packed beat-em-ups. You see, I really like this game. The colors are fine, the music is pretty cool, but I swear I didn't know what the heck was going on, since as far as I know, the game never made its way out of Japan. I tried my best to find a single patched English version of it, but I just couldn't. Anyways, the story centers around 4 heroes who must stop an evil organization called the Golden Foundation from using a powerful artifact called Arc to dominate the world. Now, you can pick any of the 4 initial stages at any order at first, but after a specific game event, the rest of the game becomes linear. Here we have 2 primary attack buttons, strong and weak, and the characters can perform special moves with Street Fighter-like commands. There's also the ability to dash, jump between planes, and unleash super attacks when the power meter fills up. To be frank, I was positively surprised by how easy it is to combo an enemy. If you keep pressing cross, alternating it with square, you can do a pretty awesome combo, and I like that. I'm not really good at setting complicated combos, and this game even gave me the Naruto Storm combo feeling, like just pressing the hit button and be happy. The game feels very fluid. I felt really good playing it since, as you may know, I really dig no-brainers. You know, the kind of game that you can play without having to pay too much attention to what you're actually doing. And I, as a professional overthinker, enjoy big time being able to smash a hidden button and hear the and the pairing sounds. Because of that, I thought about giving it a chance to see how it would perform on my Miyoo Mini Plus. This is a portable... Where is it? Here it is. This is a portable emulator that can run pretty much any retro game up to the PS1. Well, for some reason, I couldn't really get it to run at first, probably because of the weird extension the game file had, which was .bin, .ecm, and .ape. I didn't really look any further into that, but it didn't really seem like a hard thing to fix. I was just too lazy to look up or anything online. I give it an 8.5 out of 10 level of underestimatedness. Since I've played that new Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles game with some friends, my interest on beat-em-ups grew exponentially. And even though some people find Guardian Heroes a way better game, this one feels very fluid to me, so it's alright. I would play it on a small portable device, if I could, since I really like the pixel art style, but it's not as detailed as I think it could be, so maybe a smaller screen would make it just perfect. That's it for today. But let's hop on an honorable mention. Ray Crisis for the PS1 is a port made from the arcade version of the game. It was developed by Taito Corporation, and it's a techno-styled scrolling shooter game. Cool thing here is that every ship you pick in this game comes with 2 different weapons, a main gun and a secondary weapon with some kind of lock-on missiles. There's a constant flowing icon in front of your ship, and as soon as you identify an enemy, you can press the missile button and it will hit all the targets at once, which is pretty satisfying. The game encourages you to maximize your score by locking onto the most enemies you can at once. The main menu of the game offers you 2 different modes to pick from. Original mode, which lets you choose 3 or 4 different maps to combine them and create your own circuit to run, and Special mode, a score attack challenge with no continues. There's also option mode, like, why don't you just call it options? Visually, the game's fine. It features bright and colorful 3D environments, cinematic camera movements, and lots of cool lighting effects. The PS1 version has a lower resolution than the arcade one, which is to be expected, but you can't really tell since I'm running my gameplay in HD. As you might have guessed, there are sections of the original mode that are absolutely hard to go through. Like, this final boss has this freaking weird attack where, how am I supposed to dodge this? Like, I've lost count of how many continues I've used. Overall, this game has a pretty good presentation and it is pretty fun, especially if you're the kind of person who focus on getting the highest scores. I give it a 7. It's a fun game, but that's pretty much it for me. I would not. I had some fun recording for this video, but I found some sections a bit too difficult for me. Besides, I don't really have that many friends to compare my scores with, so... Now, what about you? Do you guys have any recommendations? Leave a comment down below and I see you in the next video. Goodbye.